Look carefully at yourself. Not your clothes. Not your hairstyle. Not the image you post online. Look deeper. Because the truth is, your appearance is speaking before you ever open your mouth. And most people have no idea what it's saying. Before someone hears your words, they read your energy, your posture, your face, your hygiene, your habits. And in seconds, a decision is made about you. Not because people are cruel, but because appearance is communication. Now hear this carefully. This video is not about vanity. It is about awareness. Because appearance is not just how you look. It is how you carry your discipline. It is how your habits expose your mindset. It is how your inner life leaks into your outer life. And there are destructive habits. Small, silent habits. That are slowly damaging the way you present yourself. Habits so subtle. You may not even notice them. But others do. And over time, those habits shape opportunities, relationships, respect, confidence, everything. Have you ever met someone who looked tired, even when they said they were fine? Or someone who looked powerful, before they even spoke? That is not accidental. That is the result of repeated habits. And today, we're exposing 10 destructive habits that quietly destroy your appearance. Some of them will surprise you. Some may make you uncomfortable. Good. Growth begins with discomfort. And if you're serious about discipline, self-respect, and becoming sharper every day, follow the Stoic path. Because here, we don't chase comfort. We build ourselves from the inside out. Let's begin. Habit number 1, neglecting sleep. Most people think sleep is optional. It's not. Sleep is repair. Sleep is recovery. Sleep is restoration. And when you ignore it, your face tells the truth. Dark circles. Dull skin. Heavy eyes. Low energy. Weak posture. I once knew a man who worked constantly. Proud of sleeping 4 hours. He thought exhaustion made him impressive. But every day he looked older. He looked weaker. His face carried stress like a burden. One day his mentor told him, "You look like a man at war with himself." That sentence changed him. He started sleeping. Recovering. Protecting his rest. And within months, his face changed. His energy changed. His confidence changed. Because rest is part of discipline. Not laziness. Remember this. A tired face tells a story. And not always the story you want. Habit number 2, poor posture. Look around. Heads down. Shoulders collapsed. Back bent. Eyes glued to screens. People are shrinking themselves. And they don't even know it. Posture changes appearance instantly. A confident posture makes an average person look powerful. Poor posture makes a powerful person look weak. There was once a soldier who returned from war. People said something about him had changed. Not just mentally. Physically. His spine was straight. His walk was steady. His presence filled the room. What changed? Discipline. Pain had taught him structure. And structure transformed his appearance. Your posture tells people how you feel about yourself. Stand like you respect yourself. Walk like you value yourself. Sit like you belong. Because the body speaks. Always. Habit number 3, constant stress. Stress leaves fingerprints on the face. Tension in the jaw. Wrinkles in the forehead. Dry skin. Restless eyes. And the dangerous thing? People normalize stress. They wear it like honor. But stress is expensive. A woman once carried everyone's problems. Her children. Her husband. Her family. Her work. She solved everything. Except her own peace. And one day, looking in the mirror, she said, "When did I start looking this tired?" Not old. Tired. Because stress had been draining her appearance for years. Peace is beauty. Calm is attractive. A settled mind changes the face. Protect your peace. Your appearance depends on it. Habit number 4, ignoring hygiene. Simple. Basic. But often ignored. Cleanliness is respect. For yourself. And for others. Bad breath. Unclean nails. Untidy clothes. Body odor. People notice. Even when they don't say it. There was a young man who kept wondering why people kept distance. He was intelligent. Funny. Kind. But careless. His hygiene spoke louder than his personality. One honest friend finally told him. It hurt. But it helped. He changed. And everything changed. Sometimes confidence is blocked by simple neglect. Don't overlook basics. Basics build impressions. Habit number 5, negative facial expressions. This one is deep. Many people carry permanent tension on their face. Anger. Bitterness. Frustration. And they wonder why people feel uncomfortable around them. Your face remembers your emotions. A man who constantly complained looked permanently irritated. His daughter once asked him, "Daddy, why do you always look angry?" That broke him. Because he wasn't angry. Just stressed. But his face had memorized tension. Be aware of your expression. Relax your face. Release your jaw. Soften your eyes. Not for others. For yourself. Because your face is your emotional signature. And people read it. Before words. Now understand this. Appearance is not just what people see. It is evidence of what you repeatedly do. Your habits leave traces. On your skin. On your eyes. On your energy. On your body. And the frightening part? Most destructive habits do not show damage immediately. They build slowly. Quietly. Like water dripping on stone. One drop seems harmless. But over time, it shapes everything. That is how neglect works. Not loudly. Silently. And if you ignore the silent damage, one day the mirror will reveal it. Not to shame you. To wake you up. Because your appearance is often the first place your habits confess. Let's continue. Habit number 6, poor diet. What you eat becomes visible. Not immediately. But eventually. The body keeps record. Too much sugar. Too much processed food. Too much junk. And slowly. The skin changes. Energy drops. Weight shifts. Inflammation rises. And the face loses life. There was once a businessman who ate fast food every day. Quick meals. Quick energy. Quick satisfaction. But over time, he looked heavier. Slower. More drained. One day, after climbing stairs and struggling to breathe, he realized. His habits had become his prison. He changed his diet. Not for vanity. For life. Months later. His face was sharper. His energy stronger. His confidence returned. Food is fuel. And bad fuel weakens the machine. Ask yourself. Am I feeding strength? Or feeding weakness? Because your body always answers. Habit number 7, dehydration. Simple. Ignored. Powerful. Water changes appearance. Dry lips. Dry skin. Headaches. Fatigue. Low focus. Sometimes what you call tiredness is dehydration. There was a young student constantly complaining. My skin looks bad. My energy is low. My head hurts. But he drank almost no water. Coffee. Soft drinks. Sugar. Everything except what his body needed. When he changed one habit. Water. His skin improved. His focus improved. His body responded. Often, healing begins with simplicity. Not expensive products. Basic discipline. Water. Movement. Rest. Never underestimate simple habits. They shape appearance more than luxury ever will. Habit number 8, lack of grooming. Being clean is not enough. Maintenance matters. Hair. Beard. Skin. Clothing. Details. Neglect in small areas becomes visible. A wise man once said, "How you handle small things reveals how you handle yourself." And grooming is one of those small things. A man wore expensive clothes. But his hair was always messy. His shoes worn out. His nails neglected. And people remembered the neglect. Not the clothes. That is the power of details. Details shape perception. And perception shapes opportunities. Take care of yourself. Not to impress. But to represent yourself well. Because appearance is representation. Habit number 9, carrying emotional pain in the body. Pain changes posture. Pain changes breathing. Pain changes eyes. Many people are carrying invisible weight. Heartbreak. Betrayal. Regret. Loss. And the body carries it. There was a woman who had gone through divorce. Months later, a friend saw her and said, "You look like you disappeared." Not because she stopped existing. But because pain had dimmed her presence. Her shoulders were lower. Her smile weaker. Her energy quieter. Pain had settled into her body. This is why healing matters. Because unhealed pain becomes visible. Not always in tears. Sometimes in posture. Sometimes in silence. Sometimes in appearance. Heal. Not just for peace. But for restoration. Habit number 10, comparison. This one destroys appearance from the inside. Comparison creates insecurity. And insecurity changes behavior. People start dressing for approval. Acting for validation. Living for attention. And they lose authenticity. There was once a young girl who constantly compared herself online. Every day. Every scroll. Someone prettier. Richer. More successful. And slowly. She started hating her reflection. Not because she lacked beauty. But because comparison had poisoned her eyes. That is what comparison does. It blinds you to your own value. And insecurity changes your energy. People feel it. They sense it. Confidence is attractive. Comparison kills confidence. Focus on your path. Your face. Your growth. Your journey. Because peace with yourself is visible. And nothing is more attractive than peace. But there is one hidden habit beneath all 10. The root. The foundation. And it is this. Neglecting self-respect. When you respect yourself. You sleep. You eat better. You stand taller. You heal. You groom. You protect your peace. You stop comparing. Because self-respect changes behavior. And behavior changes appearance. A man who values himself behaves differently. A woman who values herself protects herself differently. Self-respect is visible. Not in arrogance. In standards. And standards shape everything. Look at your life honestly. What habits are shaping your appearance right now? What have you normalized? What have you ignored? What have you excused? Because change begins with honesty. Not perfection. Honesty. And here's the truth. Improving your appearance is not about becoming someone else. It is about removing what is destroying who you already are. The best version of you is already there. Buried under habits. Buried under neglect. Buried under distraction. Your job is not to create yourself. It is to uncover yourself. One habit at a time. One decision at a time. One disciplined act at a time. And if this message gave you clarity, follow the Stoic path. Because this journey is not about looking better. It is about becoming stronger. Sharper. More disciplined. More aware. And remember. Your appearance is your habits made visible. Change the habits. And the mirror changes too. The world sees what you repeat. So repeat discipline. Repeat respect. Repeat growth. And let your presence speak before your words ever do. Now let's go deeper. Because by now, you may be thinking. Is appearance really that important? Yes. But not for the reasons most people think. Appearance is not about beauty. It is about evidence. Evidence of discipline. Evidence of care. Evidence of self-respect. The mirror is honest. It reflects patterns. Not intentions. And that's the painful truth. Many people have good intentions. But poor habits. They want confidence. But they neglect themselves. They want respect. But they do not respect their own body. They want change. But they repeat destruction. And repetition builds identity. Let me explain. A man once owned a garden. Every day, weeds grew. And every day, he complained. This garden looks terrible. But he never removed the weeds. He only complained about them. One day, his neighbor asked. Why complain about what you continue to allow? That is how many people treat themselves. They complain about looking tired. But neglect sleep. They complain about low confidence. But feed comparison. They complain about poor appearance. But repeat destructive habits. Nothing changes until behavior changes. That's law. Not motivation. Law. And there's another destructive habit many people ignore. Not because it is small. But because it has become normal. Hidden habit, living in constant neglect. Neglect is silent destruction. Not showering on time. Not caring about how you dress. Not caring about your health. Not caring about your body. And over time, neglect becomes identity. A young man once said, "It doesn't matter how I look. But the truth? It mattered. Because how you treat yourself teaches the world how to treat you." That doesn't mean wear expensive clothes. It means care. Care for your body. Care for your energy. Care for your standards. Because care is self-respect. And self-respect is visible. There is something powerful about someone who takes care of themselves. Not out of pride. Out of awareness. You can feel it. The way they walk. The way they speak. The way they carry themselves. That presence is not bought. It is built. And it starts in private. Not public. Private habits create public appearance. That's why discipline matters. What you do when nobody sees you eventually becomes visible. The late nights. The poor eating. The stress. The neglect. The emotional chaos. It all shows. Maybe not today. But eventually. The body keeps score. And here is another truth. Your appearance affects your confidence. People love saying, confidence comes from within. That is true. But outward discipline strengthens inward confidence. When you know you've taken care of yourself, you stand differently. When you know you've honored your body, you feel stronger. When you know you've respected yourself, you carry peace. Confidence is not pretending. Confidence is evidence. Evidence that you kept promises to yourself. A man who promises himself discipline and keeps it walks with certainty. A woman who protects her peace and honors herself radiates strength. Because confidence is trust in self. And trust is built through action. There was once an old tailor. He made suits for powerful men. Kings. Leaders. Warriors. And someone asked him, what makes a man look powerful? He smiled and said, it's not the suit. It's how the man wears himself. Powerful words. Because appearance begins before clothing. It begins with energy. With posture. With discipline. With peace. That is what people feel. That is what enters a room before you do. Energy. And energy is shaped by habits. Let me ask you something. When you look in the mirror, what do you see? Not physically. Honestly. Do you see discipline? Do you see care? Do you see peace? Or do you see neglect? Exhaustion? Stress? Distraction? Because honesty is where transformation begins. Not denial. Not excuses. Honesty. A warrior sharpens his sword. Not because it is broken. But because sharpness matters. You are the same. Sharpen yourself. Your body. Your mind. Your standards. Your habits. Sharpen them. Because life responds differently to sharp people. Opportunities notice discipline. Respect notices standards. People notice presence. And presence is built. Not given. There is a story of a sculptor. He spent months shaping stone. Cutting. Carving. Refining. Someone asked, how do you create something beautiful? The sculptor answered, I remove what doesn't belong. That is your work too. Remove what doesn't belong. The habit of neglect. The habit of poor sleep. The habit of stress. The habit of comparison. The habit of carelessness. Remove it. Because beneath those habits, there is a sharper version of you waiting. Not a fake version. A truer one. A disciplined one. A stronger one. And understand this. Your appearance is not about pleasing the world. It is about honoring yourself. That changes everything. Because when you honor yourself, you naturally improve. Not from pressure. From principle. And principle lasts longer than motivation. Motivation fades. Principles remain. That is why Stoics focus on discipline. Not because discipline is easy. But because discipline protects life from decay. Protects the body. Protects the mind. Protects the spirit. And one final truth. A beautiful face with a chaotic life will eventually show chaos. But a disciplined life, even in an ordinary body, creates extraordinary presence. Presence beats beauty. Always. Because presence is felt. And felt things are remembered. So from today, pay attention to your sleep. To your posture. To your food. To your stress. To your grooming. To your thoughts. To your healing. To your standards. Because every habit is shaping the person the world meets. And more importantly, the person you live with. Yourself. If this message opened your eyes, follow the Stoic path. Because here, we build from within. We sharpen the mind. Strengthen the spirit. And let discipline shape the outer life. Remember. Your appearance is not separate from your habits. It is your habits made visible. Change the habits. Change the image. Change the life. And never forget. The way you carry yourself is the way life will often carry you.